Hello, Carol Taylor-Kearney here at Powell Arts, and I'm with Kelsey Showalter. Did I get that right, Kelsey?
You got it. That's me.
Nailed it.
And we're standing before her absolutely beautiful, colorful, very bold painting. And Kelsey's going to tell us a little something about it.
Okay. Well, this is called Motherhood. As you can see, it's a mama bear and her two little cubs. I am also a mother, and I have two little cubs at home who are also two little girls. And I think this kind of has like a feminine sort of flavor to it, but it's really gender neutral. So it is acrylic mixed media, and then it has, so you can see there's like a little bit of charcoal in the lines here. There's a little bit of water soluble crayons in here. It started out very green and natural looking, and then this happened.
It's a changeling.
Yeah, it's definitely a changeling. It fits the prompt perfectly. So sometimes things go a little sideways and in a good direction. That's what happened here. So
I definitely went in a good direction, though I'm sure that the original that you started working from was gorgeous too. But it's so colorful, and it's one of those things that I can see growing with people, that you could start this in a child's room because it's so imaginative and move it along. Have you thought about what a viewer might get out of this when they take a look at it?
no, I hadn't really thought of that much. I guess, see, for me, it's so interesting when I go to shows and things to hear people talk about what meanings they derive.
Yeah.
And it's so few times what I got out of it myself as I was painting it. So, and this one sort of had a lot of meaning because I've painted over it a couple different times. So yeah,
it's like motherhood, where you're redoing things over and over and over again until it gets right.
Exactly. Yes.
And sometimes it just has to be done over again.
Right, like the laundry.
Yeah. One of the things I think so beautiful about this is that on the one hand, the detail in the face and the plans of the faces of the bears are so engaging and colorful, but they also are showing nice positions of lighting, so that you're both drawn to the like diverse palette of them and the way the edges meet, but at the same time you're like, that is exactly the way the light hits a bear.
Oh.
How did you come up with it? Is this something you do frequently, or this is specifically this piece? It's really interesting and really well done. So I'd like you to talk about that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, thank you. No, this is not something that I do terribly frequently. I've been following, I'm going to pronounce her name wrong, Charla Marstock, on Instagram, and she has a course called Bold School. It's about bold color.
That's awesome.
And so this is kind of my first attempt at a bold color painting in her style. I've tried a couple of other bold color things, but people seem to really like them. It always is what sells the fastest, but it's difficult because if you get something in the wrong spot, the whole thing gets weird and it doesn't work.
Yeah, because you have to really balance where the gesture and the line and the way it's like coming together or a part pops off of the face and doesn't look holistic.
Yeah, if you don't get the values and the colors just right, it gets...
Well, where I get fascinated by it is that you allowed the lit area of each one of the bears to be warm in the warm school, and then the shadowed areas were cool, and somehow it like comes together, and just as bears do, they can blend in with, these are big creatures that can blend in with the forest, and yet once you know they're there, you know they're there.
That's very true. That's an accurate statement about bears, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I also really like trees. I do trees fairly often, so bringing the two things together, trees and animals are sort of my thing. This is the first time that I melded them together into one piece.
Well, also you're using a lot of nice, you're using clearly different like gestures and ways of using the material. Like you have strips in there, you have lines in there, you have some spots in there, you have the big gestures of the face. Do you think about the way you're going to work the materiality in advance, or it's kind of you have a plan and then you go in and kind of intuitively?
Yeah, it just kind of happens. There's generally no plan. And in here, there's some areas where you can see the paint is scratched back off again. You can see the underlayer. There's a funny story about that. I had my daughter sitting on my lap while I was painting it. I wasn't paying attention, and she started scratching into it. And I was like, no. And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, do some more of that. That's really nice. So it's completely spontaneous.
Now you're gonna have to pay her royalties.
It's like, yeah, I will. Put some money in her piggy bank if it sells. So
Yeah.
Well, I also love that, with the spots of paint of the white in particular, in some ways it reminds me that it could be snow falling or some weather or, the way that leaves or something like that would go. And then you have them here and it's like they're little flowers and plants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love the way that you've sprinkled your materials all around with all these different gestures. How can you tell that, like, you do here and then this and then this? How can you tell that it's just right?
That's a great question, and I don't always know that it's just right. Hence why I painted over it several times because it didn't really feel right the first couple times. Yeah, I don't know. Eventually, it just kind of feels like probably I should stop messing with it, and then I do. I guess that's how I approach that.
It yells at you, I'm done.
Yes.
I'm done.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely beautiful. I love the way that you've made the composition, that the three bears are there. You balanced it off with the trees. I can see all the layers that you've done, which makes it feel even more complex. I mean, you look at it and you go, pretty, and then you start to look at it and it's like,
I always say that
magic.
one of the things I like about looking at paintings is you are brought in by something specific, and then in a well done, to me, in a satisfying piece, your eye travels through it and then finds these nice little secrets and like diversity of like, oh, look at this neat thing. And so it's like hidden secrets that like once you're in, you're like, ooh, that's delicious.
Oh.
Like a bear with honey.
Oh. Exactly. Yes.
That's all nice.
Well, thank you.
Well, and just the way that you've layered the space, it's so wonderful. And I could see this in almost any room in the house. And it would be beautiful over a couch. It would be beautiful in a bedroom. It would be beautiful down a hallway because it would make me want to walk up to it and take a look. So come take a look at this wonderful painting of
Motherhood.
Of motherhood. I was going to call it mother and child. Of motherhood at Powell Arts through November 28th.